If it's not really an expected answer, it is the end of your qualification efforts. Therefore, usually, literally, you never use a no, except really the customer is telling you you have to make an OQ, and this is, as Sam said before, so there is one customer telling him he has to make a diagnostics before he starts the service or maintenance, and then an OQ after. So therefore it could be that we have one customer in Switzerland that is requiring an OQ before you make a service, then the service, and after the service an OQ. And at this OQ, if you would say there is something missing, then you would say no, and you would go on with the qualification. And then at the end you would say no, it did not pass, it is defect. But afterwards, at the maintenance, you repaired the instrument, and then at the OQ after the maintenance, it is okay. But these are really rare cases. So handling raw data, whatever raw data means, the thing is the definition of raw data is going from this to this. It depends what customer is seeing that. Sometimes raw data they see as any kind of data that is generated. Sometimes it is seen as the real data which is generated but not modified by the system. But I like a little more the general approach in terms of raw data is maybe even the wrong word for me. It is generated data, whatever kind of data, but generated data has to be traceable to an instrument or equipment group. So you have always to put on our reports. There's always the serial number on it, so things like that. So you have to be careful that it is traceable. Complete entry on the official record, not scrap paper or unofficial working notebooks. Evidence of review. So therefore, if you have a document, something, you have to sign it. You have to say yes, it is okay, or it's not okay. The paper copy has to be attached whenever. So we tell you print out and then attach it to the qualification. This one is a real old one. We had this video scan where we had some printouts on heat-sensitive paper, and this was fading away. And then we said, okay, make a photocopy of this heat-sensitive paper to keep it. So correction factors, formulas, and calculations used to arrive at the final result should be recorded. This is a really dangerous one, because if you work with WinCats and VisionCats, they are not recorded. So mainly this means if you have something out of a software. So if you, again, the ATS4 is a good example. So at the ATS4, we say that acceptance criteria is 1.8% reproducibility. And then we say, but we have a total error, and we are measuring not the total, we are measuring the total error, but the instrument error is seen, and then we say at the end of the IQOQ, we say, this total error is found if you do this, this, and this, and this. So therefore, total error is 2.1. So VisionCats is showing you the total error, but the instrument error is 1.8. Strictly seen. So this is old-fashioned from Camag. They thought our instruments have to be as good as possible, so we say 1.8 is a lot better than 2.1. So therefore we said the real error of the instrument is 1.8. But who cares about the real error of the instrument? The error of the whole process is important for the customer. So therefore, this is a bit strange. And on Vision Cats, we will change that as soon as the quantitative qualification comes. But there will be just a number, and this number is okay or not okay. Not something that you have to calculate. So, in summary, deviations from good document practice may have limited criticality when considered on an individual basis. What I said before. So, if you miss something, if you make an error or something, that has, in terms of the work what the customer is doing, zero impact. But they do reflect on site as a whole and might, depending on the number. So if you have several errors, give the impression that the production and analytical processes, for example, are inadequately controlled. So it means if you do your qualification not very good, they see maybe also that the company is not really performing their other tasks as good as they should. So therefore, not only the qualification is maybe not that accurate done, it's also maybe the production is not that accurate. And so therefore, if an auditor will see 3-4 problems at a qualification, he will then say, that's strange, so we are going on to check in this company.
Really, it's not really GDP, but what's like the Camag approach on repeat testing? So say you do like the scanner and you get the CV that's too high, and you have to replace the deuterium lamp and you replace it and then it's within specification. Do you then do that test again to get a duplicate pass?
Yeah.
So you have a one fail and one pass after the corrective action. Do your customers then say you have to do it again?
To prove
that the pass is a pass?
Yeah, we have never done that.
No.
And usually I think it is quite, let me say, it is understandable that the customer wants to be on the safe side, but after that he can say, yeah, can you do it again, because 2 times passed, it's 2 times is 1 time, 1 time is no. Okay, yeah. And then after the third, you can, but maybe you wait half day and then you do it again. And that is something that some non-technical or non-service person have some problems with that. Usually, I'm as a service guy, I'm aware that I repair something and I switch off the instrument, I leave the site, and it can be that on switching off the instrument can break down. So what I'm a little, in this time, what I do is I switch it down and then at the end I quickly switch it on to check if it's still running. It's some habit from my side, but it can be then if I switch it down again, that it is again not running. So I'm never 100% sure, and you can't be 100% sure. If a test is passing, you never know exactly if it is passing the next time. So the thing is, if the customer is requesting you that, okay, why not? You can do that. In my opinion, I think if I clearly see, okay, the lamp is too weak, I replace the lamp, I do the test, I do it once, and that's okay. If I see, the acceptance criteria is 0.25, and it was at the last test it was 0.26, and now it is 0.24. I haven't done anything, I just repeat it. Then I go for a next test because I'm not sure.
Close.
So therefore I go more like, if I exactly know, yes, I solved the issue, I do the test, and then once is enough. If I'm not sure I solved the problem, or it is really close to the acceptance criteria, always one time it is missing, one time it's passing, then I redo the test more than once.
Thanks.
So, are there any questions?
So far, so good.
everything clear, so I can go. Yes, did my work. No, so this is so this was good document practice. A general thing, not really something that is Camag specific. Now we come. Who does not know about 21 CFR 11? Is somebody? Did you have already some contact? Yeah, you don't have to. That's clear. You have, but there are some new guys here. So I think other you have with Hptlc, and so you had already. And you have, or 21 CFR is. I don't have to really explain from you, but just some. Yeah. Okay. Just for me to.
What did you say the European one is? What's it
Annex
called?
11.
Annex 11.
Yeah, I will refer to that. So you haven't heard about that? It's getting more and more that they say 21 CFR and Annex 11, and for sure in some years it will be that they refer to Annex 11 first and then 21 CFR. And I think in other countries it will be the same, or regions at least, that they say in Asia they start now the Chinese FDA, they say something similar. So that will, let me turn it positively, it will be very interesting for us to see these new approaches. Yeah. So 21 CFR, I just shortly go into the differences. Maybe for South America it won't be that interesting, Annex 11, but mainly it is also important that you hear that already, and the aim is the same. It's aiming to the same. So the main difference of 21 CFR is for the US market, Annex 11 is for the European country. And this is really strange. It's adapted from the PIC countries, so Australia and Canada. And now I have to say I don't know about England, that as they are special, they have some special.
Well done, England.
We call it in German, they run a special train. So they are not only on the wrong side of the street, they are now also on the other side of Europe somewhere. So, but they are now our friends. So they are.
We're with Switzerland.
Yeah. But they are. It's adapted from Australia and Canada, which means Canada. You would think maybe closer to the United States, but they are going more with this Annex 11. But for sure, at the moment, also worldwide, 21 CFR is the name of the game.
All our old countries, see? So it's all our old countries, Australia, Canada, all the Commonwealth, part of Britain. So yeah. So.
Yeah, but, but we don't go into politics. But yeah. So the second one is 21 CFR 11 is a US federal law. So it is a law which you have to follow. Annex 11 is not a legal but a strongly recommended guideline that provides a more practical approach being compliant with the requirements of the law. So it means 21 CFR says you have to have electronic records of what you've done. Annex 11 tells you if you want to follow good document practice in a paperless environment, you should have a record of an electronic record. So it is maybe we will see that later on. The Americans tried that also. They tried to be a little on the let's just do it. It's clear we have to do it, and then they learned no way. The companies they don't do something, but please let's do that. So, do. And maybe the Europeans have now the same thing. So they at the beginning they say yes, it's almost. But the thing is, there are some laws behind that in terms of general laws that you have to have records what you're doing. And the Annex 11 is now just telling you, if you want to follow this law, you should have this and this and this. And the third is Annex 11 applies to a computerized system. This is a much broader scope of application than 21 CFR, which applies to electronic records and signatures, really specific. Also, the Annex 11 guideline covers all topics related to computerized system. It lacks in-depth details with regards to electronic records and electronic signatures provided in 21 CFR. As I said, Annex 11 is only giving you guidance. You should do this, this, and this. And 21 CFR says you have to do that and that and that. So, just some questions about 21 CFR. So, what is 21 CFR? It's CFR's Code of Federal Regulation. 21 CFR are the FDA's, so the Food and Drug Administration guidelines for electronic handling of analytical data and electronic signatures. The same rules applied for qualification with paper transferred into the paperless environment. So therefore, 21 CFR 11 is mainly thought of the target to have a paperless environment, paperless office, paperless laboratory. But we in Switzerland, we see more and more that companies are going for 21 CFR, but not for a paperless environment. So they adapt the 21 CFR rules for their computer systems, but at the end they push the print button and sign the document and put it away. Because it's a lot easier than to have electronic signature and things like that. And no issue with that. You can have, but the most of the people or companies, they don't go the full way. They make half of the effort and then they stop. We in Switzerland, we have not one single company that has implemented electronic signature. I don't know, how is it in the UK?
No, they like to they have it on them, they have it qualified, but I'm not really sure anyone uses it. They still print it out. Maybe Pfizer, I think, might have electronic signatures now.
In the other companies, or in other countries, are there any companies that are using actually electronic signature?
Strangely, Roche in Brazil, they use it.
Roche?
Yeah, is that this company, they use it.
Mexico, yeah.
I think they would use it, apart from they don't want to spend the money to get everything paperless. So if they still have like old pieces of equipment, then suddenly they still have to have paper for that, or they.
But yeah, I think that's the good thing is that FDA and European community is working for us.
Yeah.
So they are enforcing more and more that people are working like that. We had one audit this year, and they had our system, which was vision cats with a visualizer and everything. It would be possible to have electronic signature and everything. And there was another system which some detector with, I don't know the system exactly, but there was another system also on computer. And but it wasn't able to have electronic signature. And so the audit guy, he said, you have to have electronic signature. But then they said, but we don't use electronic signature. But you have to have it. But we don't use. we printed out and we said, yeah, but you have to have it. And I said, yeah, but we don't have a paperless environment, but you have to have it. She really said, I don't know, he's just, you have to have it, you have to have it. He pushed the repeat button, and they couldn't do something. Even they said, we are not working under an electronic office without paper. We use paper. And they said, no, you have to use electronic signature. So government is working for us, because if they have electronic signature, for sure they have to have a qualification. And so in Switzerland, it's about, so we do 1/3 of our turnover in service we do with qualification already. Or more than 1/3, because we have 1/3 is qualification only, and something is qualification and service together. So more than 1/3 of the turnover we do with qualification. And this is the nice thing, I think, is it is coming every year. So it is giving you a constant level of income. So therefore, these are just additional rules if you don't have any paper. So therefore, the normal rules which apply for paper are also applying for 21 CFR. It's not like here you have the paper rules and here you have the paperless rules. It is, and here you have the paper rules, and above that you have 21 CFR for electronic signature. So 21 CFR was introduced in 1996 and became 20th August 1997 an official law, and nobody cared about that, as usual. Then the FDA has seen, okay, nobody cared about it, what do I have to do? Then they published a compliance policy guide, whatever point, which forces the industry to work according to this regulation. And from then on, industry said, okay, then we have to work somehow in this direction. As I said, in Switzerland, it is seen a little more like data security on computer and the electronic signature, and the really paperless office or laboratory is not the main goal for that. The main goal is to have secure data. That is the goal, and I think that is a quite good approach for a lot of companies, for smaller companies, because electronic signature somehow is a lot of companies, they are afraid of a lot of paperwork. It's strange, a lot of paperwork because of implementing electronic signature. So why 21 CFR? So there are some questions. How secure is the generated data? How can we monitor how the data is generated? How can we monitor and prevent manipulations of this data? So there were some, is the temperature okay, or is it too cold?
It's okay.
It's just, okay. So there were some cases where people did manipulate the data. The end result was okay, but how they went or how they came to this result was not okay. So how can the data be signed electronically? So this is one part which is, as I said, at the moment not really important, in Switzerland at least. So 21 CFR therefore describes handling of data in a paperless laboratories, in addition to the commonly known rules of common or current good whatever practice. Analysis data are moved around electronically via a computer network. This data needs to be signed electronically. But also with the solution in Vision Cats, this is a lot easier than with WinCats. It is also clearer, it is better for sure. And we are closer to the targets that the customer can use electronic signature in the way that he can really use that, and not only just see it as a additional workload. But the thing is, electronic signature is just the top of the mountain, and it's just what you have to do about electronic signature is not that, but you have a lot of other things underneath that. You have to make sure that the data is secure, that you have a clear backup procedure and things like that. And this is a lot more work than just to set up the electronic signature. So what is now the part 11 from the 21 CFR? So 21 CFR covers general rules, regulations for production sites, buildings, laboratories, computer network, staff training. Then the part 11 describes only the way how analytical data in pharmaceutical, food, phytochemicals, biochemicals and cosmetic industries is handled. Therefore, it is maybe applying to some of your customers, maybe not. And if the customer says, no, 21 CFR is not for us, we are referring to 23 CFR 238. That's okay for us, but we do not comply with that. Then he would have to check by his own. So the United States has almost for every industry has different guidelines, which maybe are similar, almost the same, but not always. But we are referring to 21 CFR of them and nothing more. Part 11 is therefore extremely important for computer-generated analytical data. And who is using 21 CFR Part 11 or who needs 21 is a must for all companies of all pharmaceutical, food, chemistry industries delivering or exporting their products into the United States or Japan. And 21 CFR is recommended, but not a must for all pharmaceutical, food and cosmetic industries exporting their products to Australia and Europe. Yeah, I've got here maybe Canada. So here I said 21 CFR for Europe. For sure, at the moment, Europe is accepting 21 CFR, but in future they will say Annex 11, which we do not change our approach because, as I said, the aim is the same. But also in Europe, more and more, the audits are going in this direction, that they clearly have in mind, at least, that it must be 21 CFR compatible. And for sure, international companies, they have this FDA audits, and for sure, Americans, it's clear, they see just American markets. They go for 21 CFR. Now, what is electronic signature? During the process of manufacturing and production, including lab work to control or to guide, it needs to be monitored and approved. This wrong with this sentence. All production stages, including that, all production stages